The following broadcast is brought to you by Public House Media. Hello everybody, welcome to the next edition of The Public House, presented by Public House Media, broadcasting from here, there, everywhere. At this point, I don't really know if I should reveal my location, because next thing I know, North Korea might come and try to blow me up. Hopefully not. But a man that's a little bit closer to the front lines than I am is my co-host, Landy Godines. A very good day to you, Landy. Welcome back to The Public House, sir.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me back, Baxter.
Always.
How are you doing?
Well, you're the co-host of the show, so I really don't have much of a say in whether or not you come back or not. It's kind of contractually obligated that you show up.
Yeah, it's me, so we haven't discussed
What do you
we haven't discussed that part yet.
Exactly. But we are thrilled to be back. Oh, go ahead. No, say what you got to say. Say what you
have an
need to
excuse.
say.
I'm in South Korea. I can get blown up any day.
It's true. So we need to have Landy on the show as many times as physically possible before he gets blown up. So that makes total sense to me. I can't argue with the fact that we need as much of your voice logged in the interweb, so when you pass from this world to the next via nuclear missile, we'll be able to go back. Yes, it's a thing.
Nuclear?
I don't know. This is why I went to college for broadcasting. I didn't study seismic, atomic, nuclear chemistry. I don't know. What do you want from me?
Okay, sure.
You went to school for business or language. What do you know about nuclear?
Law, actually. I went to school for law.
What? So why don't we have Godines
studies,
and Godines
man?
law, attorneys at law?
Oh, that's later in life. I'm still young and beautiful.
Still young and beautiful. Hey, well, the way that the world is moving right now, you might not have a whole lot of time, Landy, so you might want to get a move on that.
I just want to stay young and beautiful then.
Fair enough. Well, we want to say a big thank you to all of our young and beautiful fans out there that listened to our first edition of The Public House. Reminder for you that you can listen to it on Spreaker.com under the Public House Media channel, so go search for it there. We are also on iTunes. We are official. As many people in the podcasting world would say, we've made it, Landy. So go and give us a rating, give us a review, and make sure to hit the subscribe button so that way you can never miss an episode of The Public House, which comes out every single Wednesday morning for your listening considerations.
We made it!
Woo!
So, please follow us on Public House Media on Twitter and at the PH Media, and also on Facebook at Public House Media.
Yeah.
We'd love to have you guys there.
We are all over the place, and of course, if you want more information about the Public House or any of the great shows that Public House Media does, go to their website, thephmedia.com. The Q in media is silent, so don't forget that. There's no Q in media. Anyway, sorry. So, Landy, we've got a couple of different topics to talk about. What's wrong with nuclear?
Just keep going. Keep going.
So, Landy, there's a lot. The topics we have listed out in front of us. We are going to be introducing a new segment this week as well, too, called "What Food Is It?" Where I'm going to be giving Landy 3 different recipes, and he has to tell me based off of. Am I just giving you the ingredients? Is that right, Landy? I'm just going to give you the ingredients, and you have to tell me what I'm.
Yes, you're going to give me the ingredients, and then I have to guess what you are going to make. Kind of a hint would be, telling me how to cook the recipe.
Yeah, well, when I I'll preface each one saying like you would normally have this for breakfast, or you'd have this for dinner, or you'd have this as a dessert. So I'll give you that kind of a general pocket. Does that make?
I eat things from breakfast for dinner and dinner for lunch.
We're gonna talk. I'm speaking to the normal person or peoples that are nuclear out there. Okay.
God, that's gonna get me every time.
I guess
yes,
so.
I got it.
All right, so we have 4, maybe 5 things we want to talk about on this episode before we play that game. Landy, I want you to pick what we talk about first because I don't know I don't know where to start.
So we have. Such one. So we have such one. Let's start. Let's keep it uniform. Let's start with Taylor.
Taylor.
And,
so what did we talk about last week with Taylor?
Tay. Let's talk about Tay. Well, the case.
The trial.
And, trial. Yeah, there we go.
I saw more news coverage
trial,
over this damn trial than I really felt was necessary.
I didn't know it was happening until you told me, so thank you for putting that on my radar.
What are friends for?
But I guess the trial is over now.
It is. Taylor Swift won.
And she won. Congratulations. I'm happy for her. Now we can get on with our lives. But apparently a note company was supporting her all through the trial. And that was really sweet of them.
Really? Or you just
Yeah.
I mean, kind of. Yeah, I mean, let's look at this.
No,
So,
they were
They were posting things, yes. So there was a company. Taylor Swift was very happy that she won this lawsuit. Obviously, she won $1. So good for her, and she earned herself some RESPECT as well. She wanted, apparently, because that's all that really means to her. So she was very excited because there was a note company, as you mentioned, that was putting up post-it note messages on the walls or on the windows across from the courthouse, basically, saying "fearless" and "people throw at things that shine." Well, aren't you supposed to do that? And "begin again," among many other things. And Taylor Swift was so happy. She sent everybody flowers. This was for Craftsy. Company called Craftsy. I don't know what's more weird, sending flowers or having a company called Craftsy.
The Craftsy part.
It's a little.
I send flowers.
Yeah, everybody sends flowers.
The Craftsy one.
That's true. Yeah, they did something different every day to show their support. Yes. So I mean, it's this trial is officially over. We can move on, and we don't have to hassle with this anymore. Correct?
No, we don't. We're done.
Perfect.
Finished.
So let's talk about something that's actually going to get people fired up.
Oh, yes, please. So it's gonna be a topic for me. So what's going on in Charlottesville, Bax? Please, can you give me some background information on that? Because I'm just disappointed at this point. I'm just disappointed.
I will be 100% honest with you in this regards, and all of our listeners out there as well, too. I have purposely not followed anything going on with Charlottesville. So when all the news broke over with the events, and people have been asking what's been going on, and obviously this white supremacy talk, and obviously you listen to the media or anything, or go on social media for even a half a second, and obviously you just get slammed in the face with everything. But I have
pretty much
kind of purposely, in all honesty, stayed away from looking at all of this. And I don't know if that's just my personal views and beliefs saying I just want to be involved with it, or it's my own just in general thing saying, well, I'm not involved with it personally, so I'm not going to deal with it, kind of a thing. So I'm not exactly sure where on that line I stand, but I almost prefer my ignorance, because I don't think we should be. My bottom line in all of this is that I don't think that these problems should still be happening in 2017. They just should not.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree.
So what's your take on this then?
Like you, I tried to stay away from it. But when, yesterday I was in a nice little coffee shop.
No. You weren't just I was about to say, I'm like, don't you dare forget that point. You missed that. Landy was at a dog cafe yesterday?
Dog cafe, yeah.
Only in South Korea, folks. Only in South Korea.
It's a thing in Korea. There's dog cafes, there's cat cafes, there's raccoon cafes, there's a sheep cafe too. So where you can go and you can pet sheep and drink coffee.
Cheap or sheep?
Is
it a cheap cafe?
Sheep. Yeah, that one. A cheap for sheep. prosciutto. There you go.
Sheep prosciutto cafe. What does prosciutto have to do with sheep?
Back to the point. I was at a nice little dog cafe, not yesterday, on Sunday, and then this little girl, 10 years old, is speaking Korean to the owner, and all I hear is KKK every, I don't know, few words, and then the owner looks at me, and then
why does
she
he have to
asks
look at
me,
you?
"Have you?" Because I'm friends with the owner, and she knows I'm from the States, and just like, "Are you listening to this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm catching a lot actually." And the little girl comes up to me and she's like, "I'm scared." She's scared. She doesn't live in the U.S. She's 7,000 miles away from it, and she's haunted by what's going on there. It made me sad, because for a country that was against those views, I don't know how this is still going on in 2017. And it just breaks my heart.
I think when you break it down to the core of it, like you said, it's one thing for this country to keep it all inside and like, well, like you said, like you're in Korea, and usually it's like, oh, there goes the U.S. doing their silly things, or oh, there goes North Korea, or there goes Japan, or whoever it is that's out doing their things. But it's like, okay, you stay in your yard, basically. You're having chaos in your yard, but it's not seeping over to the neighbors, and everything's fine, and whatever. It's a little loud, but whatever. But the fact that, as you mentioned, somebody 7,000 miles away that's 10 years old, that has the competency to know and understand what exactly is going on, maybe better than even some of those that actually are 5 minutes away from it, or even 100 miles away from it, is a testament to, number one, how quickly our technology and our media has grown, because the fact that somebody that's 10 years old can now understand and be up to date on that is remarkable. But at the same time, that's terrifying, as you mentioned, because if things are getting out of hand where people 7,000 miles away are this concerned, that means we have a serious problem that needs to be dealt with as soon as possible.
Exactly. And none of my students have actually talked to me about it. And then this random little girl in a dog cafe just comes up to me and she's like, "I'm really scared. What's going on?" I'm like, "I have no idea." And that's when I went and I read a little bit about it, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This is actually happening. This is really happening. And yeah. I'm just waiting for the US to implode from within at this point, because this keeps happening, and it shouldn't. After 70 years?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
The United States has been around for long enough time now, honestly. That you're talking about
after World War II.
That's right. Yeah, it's a very touch and go subject, and it's
I'm ashamed,
it makes a lot of people uncomfortable, honestly, Landy, and that just is something that unfortunately it's the world we live in now, and the rest of us that are not directly involved or directly affected by it have to play the waiting game and say, okay, well, what's going to happen here in the next week or two or month, and how are we going to react to it and grow from it, because it's going to get messy way more before it finally gets better and cleaned up.
We have to tolerate it. We have to build up a tolerance to it. And like
we shouldn't have to, though, right?
The waiting game. Yep. I'm 7,000 miles away. I can't really do much about it, but even people over there. True.
You're absolutely right. Well, one other thing that we want to talk about from a... I think we should have a segment, Landy, called the stupid moment of the week, or the maybe you shouldn't have done that moment of the week, or something. I don't know. It's a working
or girl, what is you doing?
I like the girl, what is you doing moment of the week. It comes to you courtesy of ESPN, the great sports giant. For those that have not heard about this has been making the rounds recently. So ESPN is notorious for fantasy football. I play fantasy football. I know a lot of people out there that love fantasy football. Landy doesn't probably even know what fantasy and football together mean. He knows what fantasy means. He knows what football means, but not together. It's a whole other conversation.
I know what fantasy is. I know what fantasy is.
I know.
Not football that much, but I know what fantasy is.
Exactly. So ESPN did this 28-hour fantasy football marathon, which first of all is remarkable that anybody can be awake for 28 straight hours that doesn't involve alcohol or partying and talk about the same freaking topic. I don't know. I love sports. I don't think I could stay awake for 28 hours and talk about sports, though, honestly, Landy. I think that would literally kill me.
How does somebody talk about one topic for 28 hours?
Who
How
knows?
much money do they get paid for that?
A whole heck of a lot. I know that for a fact. So the issue, though, unfortunately, Landy, is that ESPN, there's numerous ways that you can hold drafts and you can acquire players. You can do a standard draft. You can do waiver drafts. You can do snake drafts. You can do all different kinds of things. One type of draft that doesn't really get used very often is called the auction draft. And ESPN usually where different teams, team owners bid on the players that they want based off of a certain amount of allocated money that your team has, and then whoever is the winning bidder at the time limit gets the player. So ESPN thought they would do a live version of this for one particular player. At least that's what the clip is that I've seen. So they did an auction. Probably 30, 40 people, I think it looked like. There was an auctioneer, and there was about maybe 40 people in seats bidding on Odell Beckham Jr. And for those that don't know who Odell Beckham Jr. is, he is an African-American, very talented player. They had his head on a cutout of his head on a stick. And the auctioneer held it up and he started rattling off prices and now 25, 25, 35, 45, whatever. They finally started, they're bidding and bidding and bidding. And finally, I think $38 or whatever it was the closing bid. Guy said, sold. And you won Odell Beckham Jr. And if out of context, for those that follow fantasy football, this makes total sense. Total sense. Nobody questions it. Nobody thinks a second about it. But when you take off the fantasy football goggles and you really look at what this was, you were literally selling black NFL players to, if you did not notice this, if you watch the video, a group of 40 white men. So we are reenacting slavery via fantasy football, regardless of what ESPN or anybody else's intentions were in this regards. This is an absolutely idiotic and horrific move by ESPN. ESPN did offer a statement saying auction drafts are a common part of fantasy football. ESPN's segments replicated an auction draft with a diverse slate of top professional football players. Without that context, we understand the optics could be portrayed as offensive, and we said ESPN in a statement. I'm white. I don't have to deal with the racism or anything. I mean, you're Hispanic, so you deal with it a little bit. Obviously, the African-American slavery. The big part that kills me is, like I said, it was 40 white guys bidding for a black man.
A black guy, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
there is something
I get it.
horribly wrong with that.
When you were so eloquently explaining that, I kind of
thank you,
gagged a little bit because the disgust that poured out of that. Yeah, it was an idiotic move. It was pretty much, you can't, speechless, like one of the comments says. I am pretty much speechless on the fact that ESPN would be so blind to even do this on live TV or at all. At all.
Yeah, and
especially
even
with